Am I the a-hole for cutting all contact with my family because of a prank? Plus update. Original post. Here's what happened. I, 27 female, have always had a complicated relationship with my family. They've always been the type of people who think any joke is fine as long as someone laughs, no matter who gets hurt. Over the years, I've tried to brush it off and not let it bother me too much. But this time, they crossed a line I can't ignore. Recently, I achieved something big in my life. I bought my first home after saving for years. It's something I worked incredibly hard for, sacrificing vacations, nights out, and basically anything extra to make it happen. I was beyond proud of myself and excited to finally have a place to call my own. Naturally, I wanted to share this milestone with my family, even though our relationship has always been rocky. A few weeks ago, we had a family dinner to celebrate my new home. Everything seemed fine at first. They congratulated me, asked about the house, and seemed genuinely happy for me. But halfway through the night, my brother 30 male and sister 25 female handed me an envelope. They said it was a surprise to help me with my house. I opened it and inside was what looked like a legal notice stating that my house purchase had been canceled because of a clerical error and that it was now being sold to someone else. It even had an official-looking letterhead, my name, and details about the house. I was in complete shock. Everyone around the table started laughing, and my brother yelled, "Gotcha!" Turns out they had faked the letter and thought it would be hilarious to see my reaction. I burst into tears, which only made them laugh harder. They even recorded the whole thing on their phones to post on social media. When I finally managed to speak, I told them how cruel this was. Buying this house was the biggest thing I've ever done, and they turned it into a joke at my expense. Their response? "You're so sensitive. It was just a prank. Lighten up." I left the dinner early, completely heartbroken. A few days later, I decided I'd had enough. This wasn't the first time they'd pulled a prank like this. Over the years, they've humiliated me countless times. Once ruining a job interview outfit by accidentally spilling coffee on it, and another time pretending to lose my dog just to see me panic. I cut off all contact. I didn't make a scene. I just stopped responding to messages, blocked them on social media, and declined invites to family events. Now I'm getting guilt-tripping messages from extended families saying I'm being selfish and tearing the family apart. My mom even left me a voicemail crying about how much she misses me and begging me to come back. But I can't bring myself to forgive them. This prank felt like the final straw, and I don't see how I can trust them again. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for cutting off my family over this prank? Now for the top comments before reading the update. You're rightfully upset, because it wasn't a prank, it was bullying. "It was just a joke" BS is something every bully does to justify humiliating people. They thought it would be fun to upset you on your big night, and then take videos of it and post it on social media? And your mother is crying that she misses you? No, she had an opportunity there to rip them a new one about their behavior and about treating you with kindness and respect, and she thought it would be better to go along with a prank. You deserve better than this. I'm glad you finally decided to call an end to their bullying. Don't let them or any extended family members pressure you into doing anything you don't want to do. I'm sorry that they couldn't just be happy for you and your achievement. OP, tell mom that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Your family doesn't give you happiness, only misery. So why stay in contact? Also, congratulations on a house. That is huge. Exactly. Having been in her position myself, I can only imagine that if I were to not be here, they would have to find someone else to blame everything on, whilst at the same time denying that they are even doing such a thing to begin with. Not the a-hole. Pranks are not supposed to hurt. Pranks are supposed to hurt. By definition, they're all about having fun at someone else's expense. You can't have a prank without a victim. Pranks are mean-spirited. They're not jokes. Agreed. I hate pranks. I've often heard sarcasm is the lowest form of humor, but no, pranks are. It's nothing but bullying in joke form, and I'd cut anyone out of my life who felt it was appropriate to bully me. Update. Thank you all for the advice and support. I wanted to provide an update because things have escalated in ways I never expected. After I went no contact with my family, I thought they'd eventually accept my decision and move on, but that hasn't been the case. For the past few weeks, my brother and sister have been trying to get me to see the funny side of their pranks. They've shown up at my house and invited multiple times, banging on the door and demanding to talk to me. At first, I ignored them, but it became clear they weren't going to stop. One evening, I caught them standing outside my house with their phones out, recording themselves while yelling things like, "She can't take a joke," and "Let's see how long she can hide." It felt more like harassment than an attempt to reconcile. The final straw came when I discovered my car had been egged overnight, and my security camera caught my brother and sister doing it. I confronted them through text, telling them they'd crossed a line and needed to stop. Their response? "You're so dramatic. You're going to laugh about this one day." At this point, I realized I couldn't handle this on my own. I went to the police and filed a report for harassment. They took my harassment, reviewed the footage from my security camera, and agreed that this behavior was unacceptable. My siblings were contacted and warned to stay away from me. Their reaction? More mocking messages, calling me a snitch and accusing me of tearing the family apart. Some of my extended family members are siding with them, saying I should have just talked it out instead of involving the police. But others, especially those who've seen the footage, are horrified and fully support my decision. I feel a mix of relief and sadness. It's hard to accept that my own family could treat me this way, but I also feel safer knowing I've taken steps to protect myself. I'm focusing on building a new life in my home and surrounding myself with people who respect and support me. To anyone out there struggling with toxic family dynamics, you're not alone, and it's okay to set boundaries to protect your peace. Thank you for giving me the strength to stand up for myself. These are people that are upset because their easy victim isn't there anymore. 100%. The other family members complaining are just worried that if the target gets away, they might become the new target. The brother and sister, though, are just pricks who miss their little victim. They were lucky OP stayed around that long. I would have cut them off after the dog thing. That is not funny at all. The fact that they're doubling down on it rather than thinking about what they've done and apologizing doesn't say a lot for their intelligence. Oh look, she's cut us off because we were mean to her. Let's be even meaner, then she's sure to like us again. It's more like she's refusing to accept her role as the family scapegoat. Let's punish her. My dad's nephew kept trying to guilt me into talking to my dad, moving to the other side of the country to be his caretaker. That kind of stuff. Well, long story short, finding himself homeless in that part of the country, he eventually took up the post of dad's caretaker himself. 3 days later, he ran out of that house like his hair was on fire and went to go live with a very distant family he'd never met before instead. Dad's my first bully, the worst I've ever known, and the only one who actually gave wet willies. Golly, is he having just the loneliest, most uncomfortable old age. Me and his oldest sister are his favorite targets. It drives him up a wall that I visit her at least once a week and do all manner of odd jobs for her, and that neither of us is willing to talk to him anymore. For Christmas, he tried to start a fight between the two of us over enough money to pay my rent for a year. Neither of us took the bait, to the point we don't even know what he was on about because we're both deleting unread/unheard whatever he sends us. Next story. Am I the a-hole for shutting out my brother after he almost had sex with my girlfriend? I, 17 male, was always close to my younger brother, 16 male. Even though our age gap is really small, I was always his protector because he struggled with lots of stuff. He's always been bullied, was always chubby, and even though he eats well and does move around, he just can't lose the weight. Something he hates because it made him a target for bullying forever. He's got social anxiety too and is just really hard on himself. So I took it upon myself to be his best friend and his brother, and I ran off more than a few bullies over the years. He was always a priority for me, and even though we're teenagers and that doesn't always happen, I tried, because I knew my brother struggled socially. Near the end of November, he had a really crappy time. A girl he liked humiliated him as part of a prank by spending time with him because she knew he liked her, and then mocking him for his weight and being weird. Then a few guys tried to expose him in a locker room and called him names. It did a number on him, and I was there. I invited him to come to a party with me and my girlfriend, 17 female, 3 weeks ago. I helped him find an outfit and stuff. I acted like his personal cheerleader in a run-up, and I offered to introduce him to some people he might find some common interests with, which he said he was ready to try. We got there and he seemed to hit it off with one of the guys I introduced him to. I spent some time with my girlfriend and then she disappeared. I went to go check on my brother and I found the two of them together in a room on their own making out. They were as close to fully naked as you could get and I lost it. I broke up with her and told her to stay the heck away from me, and I went out to my car and called my parents to take him home and told them I could not be alone in the car with him. They had me stay in the car at least, so I did, and Dad drove to pick him up and brought him home. I told our parents what happened, and they told me he wanted to apologize, but I refused to let him. My brother has tried to apologize and make it right, but I never let him finish and I walk away. I've shut him out. My parents asked me to try and listen and forgive, and I said no. On Christmas Eve, I told him to stop trying to talk to me because I am done with him. I told him he didn't deserve my help anymore and to forget about coming to me with his problems. I also said I wasted all that time with him when I could have been with friends who wouldn't stab me in the back. Since then, he has become so depressed, and my parents are worried. But I'm not. I'm still shutting him out. And I don't think I'll try to change that either. My parents told me we can't let this end our relationship, and they said he needs me. I told them that's too bad, because I did so much for him, and he'd have slept with my girlfriend if I hadn't walked in when I did. They told me he's a kid. And I said yeah, but I was on his side the whole time and I chased away so many bullies for him, comforted him, listened to him, helped him with his problems. I told them as far as I was concerned, it was a waste of time, and I regret wasting my time. They told me it was a horrible way to think about my own brother, and they said if he hurts himself because I shut him out like this, they won't ever forgive me. I told them to help him because I'm done. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Tell your parents that instead of putting this on you, he should be seeing a therapist. How exactly have they helped you? Your brother, who you have loved and protected for years, just betrayed you in the worst possible way. Why aren't they helping you through that and listening to you? That's why he's messed up. Your parents totally suck. How exactly have they helped his brother as well, if Opie always had to come to his rescue? It sounds like they are pretty terrible parents all around, really. Good luck, Opie, and stand your ground. Exactly. They enabled him to act entitled. He wants to apologize because he got caught. Sounds to me like there's a reason your brother has been bullied. I have known several people that at first glance may seem to be the victim of bullying, who just bring it upon themselves, to the degree that I'm hesitant to even call it bullying. If anything, it's retaliation. I'd be curious to see what his bullies have said. With how he went about this, it may not be the first time. The bullying is real. I've witnessed it, and they almost always go after his weight and say he's fat and shouldn't even be in school. This started when we were young. The other thing was about how weird he was because of the stuff he liked. There was never a reason for him being bullied, but he still did a horrible thing now. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's boyfriend it's not his business if I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom? So I, female 22, have an older sister, female 28. She has 4 kids, 7, 4, 3, and soon to be newborn. She loves being a mom and wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and I encourage her to do whatever she wants. She herself understands that I have no desire to be a mom right now, if ever. I have 2 other older sisters who are like me and don't want to be stay-at-home mothers. This is important in the story. Her boyfriend, male 27, is mad at me because he asked me when I'm going to settle down and said he can introduce me to his friend, male 25, who wants a stay-at-home wife. I told him no, that I don't want to date anyone this year, and he got mad at me for some reason and asked me why. So I told him my ex-boyfriend left me with trust issues. My ex cheated on me 6 months into a 3-year relationship. He told me we broke up in 2023 and that I should start getting back out there. I told him it's not his business, and he dropped it. But 2 days ago, he asked me if I wanted to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. I told him no, I don't, and I'm not even sure if I want kids, let alone to be married. He got defensive since his mom was a stay-at-home wife and mom. I told him I don't see anything wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, but I personally don't want to depend on a man for anything. Once again, he got defensive and said not all men are the same. I told him he was correct, but again, not all women want the same thing. He said my sister wants to be a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I told him congratulations in finding that with my sister, but that I, once again, don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. He got mad because he overheard my conversation about me getting an IUD as well and told me I'm ruining God's plan to make me a mom one day. I told him whether I want kids or not is not his business. He got mad at me and told me to get out of his home, so I did. My older sister is asking me to apologize to him and not get an IUD, since if I get pregnant, it's God's plan. She also told me I should reconsider being a stay-at-home mom/wife. I told her not everyone has that dream. She accused me of not respecting stay-at-home mothers/wives, which is nothing but lies. My two other older sisters are on my side and said my sister's boyfriend shouldn't be so concerned with how I live my life, and that if I don't want to spend on anyone for the rest of my life, that's my choice. So am I the a-hole for telling my sister's boyfriend it's not his business if I don't want to be a stay-at-home wife/mom? Edit. I get asked this question a lot about why I was discussing getting an IUD with my sister's boyfriend. I wasn't discussing it with him. My three sisters and I were all discussing it at his house, but he wasn't there. He walked in though when I said I was thinking of getting an IUD. That's when he butted into the conversation. As soon as he said, God's body, not my body, me and my two other sisters started talking to him about it. He raised his voice, so I raised mine, and we eventually left since I don't like conflict at all. This guy sounds like a creep. Who is he to dictate what you do with your life, your career, and your body? I hope your sister knows about this and supports you, not the a-hole. My sister, who is with him, wholeheartedly supports him and thinks I should be a stay-at-home mom. She wants me to apologize to keep the damn peace, but I told her I'm done keeping the peace. He also supports the abortion ban, which is his opinion. Me, on the other hand, I'm pro-choice. He wants a national abortion ban even for rape and incest, which makes me nervous to be in a room with him. She also supports this. Not the a-hole. His views on stay-at-home moms and traditional gender roles are his own, and he shouldn't be imposing them on you. So many red flags here, and not the a-hole. To add a bit of fun and flair to your arguments since they keep bringing up God and all this, feel free to point out that boyfriend is not husband, and in God's eyes they are living in sin, and all those lovely children are illegitimate bastards. That should bring about a whole bucket of fun there. Also, be sure to point out her boyfriend's obsession with your body and what you're doing with it. Does he perchance want that body for his own? And since he can't have it, he's using his friend as a surrogate? There are some serious issues here, but none of them are your problem. As a side note, being petty with biblical technicalities can be a total hoot. You obviously love your sister if you're putting up with this guy's BS, but I'd be going low or no contact after that. 3 out of her 4 kids aren't even his. She's pregnant, about to give birth at the end of this month.